Hello viewers, I'm finally back and I know it's been a while, but I'm up with another banger. Desert Fox Racing, Festival of Speed, and I haven't caught the first two races and this is the last race, so my standings in the championship are nothing to be proud of. But this race was actually pretty tense and I'm with the, let's say, top 50 players of the Middle East. And if you're a Gran Turismo player, you definitely recognize that name on top, Knife. Pretty much the guy topping off the charts everywhere, left, right, etc. He has many track records in the qualifiers and in the time trials. And of course, he's pretty much the player to beat in the game 90% of the time. So rolling into the race after qualifying in P10, and as usual, Knife is topping the chart. Now, it's an all Ferrari race, it's a one-make race, and it's a pretty fun race. So it's lights out and away we go. Again, starting in P10, I don't really have much to lose and I have a lot to gain. So locking in that mentality, I'm not really planning to make any sort of moves into turn 1. In fact, I'm gonna be looking to brake a little early to make sure everybody squeezes their nice Ferraris out of here. But some driver decided to, again, pull this insane move and nearly spinning me out. But I do a nice recovery, consider the quitting, but I mean, it's not too bad. I only lost like 2 positions, so I'm nice and chill, and I'm gonna look to make that back. Now, you see there is a pack of 5 cars up in front, and if I'm faster, it should be very much easy to overtake, because here's the thing, I'm a race driver. I'm a race guy, not a qualifying guy. Race pace is not my thing, but fighting is definitely my thing. So into turn 5 and 4, I don't really plan anything special. You see, they're bashing themselves out of the race. So it's a matter of patience, because they will fight. I can just through goes Hamilton my way through, as I nearly pumped out the driver off the track, but you can see he's recovered that and he's just, went all the way back. So now that's 2 positions made in 1 corner, and yes, I know I fucked that up pretty nicely, but it's at least I'm on P12. Now I'm looking to catch Ali Omani, which is an Omani driver as the fucking meme says, and the flag, and he's a bit up ahead. And going into Ascari, which I feel like is my special suit, I mean, it's a pretty corner. No matter who you are, you probably like it. It's quite technical, left, right, left. Right, left, right, I think. Yeah, no, left, right, left, yeah, right. And to be fair, it's some of the best corners, best sequence of corners on a racetrack you can ever drive on. So everybody universally enjoys driving there. And I think I have an upper edge compared to my competitors here, because I just carry a bit of confidence into the corner, which again, confidence really makes you faster, and the more confidence you have, the faster of a driver you are. And that's just kind of one thing I realized, and it helps you up to a point, but there is a point where you are confident and a point where you're just purely delusional, and I'm somewhere between those. And yeah, that's why sometimes I lose my confidence, and then once I'm driving the car, I regain my confidence, and then I get overconfident, and then I become delusional, and the cycle repeats as one driver gets a bit too confident there and just goes off track. Absolute skill issue. Now I'm in P10, easy position, no problems at all. Looking forward again to overtake Ali Omani. I don't remember when he got in front, but he is in front now. It's gonna be an easy overtake, especially because I have this higher straight line speed right now. I'm gonna pull on the outside of this corner, but if I can hang it, so just, I'm late on the brakes, I just right around wrap it right there, and that's an easy overtake. Again, this corner specifically is one where, let's say, I had a lot of attempts at, and Monza is a track, I'll be fair, it's one of the tracks I'm more experienced on, and I've driven this track with all sorts of cars, GT, GR, GT3, GT2, GR4, GR1, everything under the sun. I pretty much drove it, even street cars. Now, skipping to lap 5, you can see GTMA Imad, which, if I'm correct, is a Algerian driver. He's up in front, and he's gonna be my next target to hunt down as he went off the track. Again, he's, I'd say, the same pace as me. Maybe I'm a little faster, or maybe I'm a little bit more of a fighter, because we're both very similarly paced, but I'd say I'm a little bit better, purely out of ego. The question is, do I have enough to hold up my ego, or am I gonna go fall into delusion? This will reveal itself soon. So I'm up in P8, and I'm looking to expand the gap as much as possible. Again, 1, to catch up to Iceman, and 2, just to build a cushion gap. It's, again, always beneficial to be faster on the racetrack, I'm being fair. Sometimes I like to relax and let them catch up, and that's only when I'm doing races that don't really matter, because I like to fight, that's what I consider fun. Fighting instead of, just driving along fast. And I'm the social driver, meaning is I do better when there's cars in front of me, somehow. And I know draft plays a big part, but like overall in general, if I get lonely, I just start losing myself and, you know, crashing here, crashing there, and a lot of mistakes. So the more cars I'm fighting with, the better I do in general, which is a phenomenon to me at least. Now, you can see GTMA IMAD is pretty much on my tail, is looking to make a move as I try to make it as difficult as possible. Ending lap 5 into lap 6, I'm gonna be pitting end of lap 6. Now, you can see I come out just ahead with the better land, let's say, than Imad, but he does have my draft all the way through into turn 1. So, am I going to protect it? I'm covering it right now. I'm going full inside. I'm not really giving him the chance, but I'm gonna decide to pull off that really because I don't really want to risk anything into turn 1 because everybody knows how Monza turn 1 can go like. It gets pretty nasty. And if I'm being fair, I have zero trust to be braking with him just behind me. So I'll just let him go and I'll try to read him as a driver. Even the commentators commentating over this race on the DFR channel were confused about this move. Why did I let him have the position? Well, answer is I'm looking to read what this driver is like so I know how to better plan my moves. Again, I'm the social driver. I read my drivers and I make my moves precisely. So going into turn 4 and 5, I just hung it around the outside and that's a signature move of mine. This is the second time I put it in this race. Meanwhile, it got a bit nasty between us. You can see he almost went off track. Both was struggling a little bit for grip. You know, just giving that little tail fishtail, whatever you want to call it. But I stay ahead overall because I do have the inside into the horseshoe corner. I actually have no idea what it's called. I just made up that name, like fully. But yes, now we're on the back straight heading into Ascari, and you can see there's 3 drivers very close up behind, so my prayers, if they are answers, they will fight, and I'll be able to fuck off into the sunset and build a safe pushing gap, and maybe hopefully catch up to Iceman in the back of my head, but you know, maybe that's a bit much to ask for. So going through Ascari, I'm gonna be looking at the gap as it pretty much vanishes, and it just goes up again, but I gained myself what feels like a death sentence right now of 1 second penalty on pretty much the most competitive race I've ever done. I mean, second, third most competitive, but it's up there, Definitely in the top 5, probably in the top 3. Because I promise you, this race was highly competitive, and I'd say I was put under pressure the entirety of the race. The 22 minutes I was driving this car, I was under constant pressure from 1, fuel management, 2, other drivers, and 3, the fuck up I had. Well, it wasn't the fuck up, another driver pushed me off, which just puts that bit of extra mental strain. Now, the pit stop boys get ready to receive my car, pulls in the Ferrari, they change my tires. Again, the strategy is medium, and what I'm gonna be doing is fueling the car up to the fullest because, again, the car can just last about 6 laps with fuel saving. And how am I fuel saving up? You're probably asking. You're not fuel saving, you're fuel strategy 1. Well, have you heard of a term called short shifting? It allows you to stay fast, and everybody does it here. The races that the DFR especially makes, it all relies on fuel saving, and the main reason why I didn't qualify to the TGR MENA final was that I didn't know of the short shifting strategy. And as I started exploring it more, I found out you save so much fuel, and I'd say lose like 1 to a maximum 5% of speed, but it's marginal, minimal loss. So unless you're in a dire pinch, you really don't need to go anything more than fuel mode 2. Unless you're an absolute fucktard of a driver, then you go all the way to 6 because it's all your fuel and you have to make 0.5 of a lap last the entire lap somehow. And I've been there before. It wasn't pretty at all, I promise you that. And the most common fuel mistake people make is if you look up there, it says lap 7. Oh, 7 minus 12. I got 5 laps remaining. Wrong! 6 laps remain. If you look at the right, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I finished lap 6, I'm doing lap 7. So in hindsight, it's plus 1 lap if you really think about it. Because you come off the pitch, it says lap 7, yeah, but you're doing lap 7, like you're still you're practically lap 6.1, like if you put it in that terms. And as you progress, you'd go lap 0.1, 0.5, 0.5 until you reach 7, but by the time you finish lap 7, you start at lap 8. So that's why you add plus 1 to the fuel. And it did confuse me up until I got the hang of it. Especially when I started sim racing back in 2012, I was like 14, 13. It confused the fuck out of me, that plus 1 rule. How does it make sense? Well, it does make sense. As I served my penalty, I watched the Emad, was that Emad? Yeah, Emrad, EMRD. He takes away what I worked so hard for and he goes up into the 8th position. Now, this Omani driver actually had a shoulder injury from a sim racing crash because his wheel snapped so hard it actually broke his shoulder. And he used to be some of the top drivers up until he was forced to quit 2 years ago. And now he's in his sim reintroduction phase and slowly healing. But again, he's still very much injured and he cannot race as good as he used to. So going into turn 1, I'm right in the slipstream. I look on the inside, he leaves it completely open, so I just send the overtake, and I give him as less of the space I can give to him, while of course being completely legal. And you can see he completely backed out of it, no fight at all. He didn't want to really fight turn 1, and that's an intelligent move, because again, I done that before. Now next lap, he is behind me by, you know, a bit, like by 0.35, 0.36. As a break, he just sends it down the inside, and you can see he just pushes me all the way off, which did strike a bit of controversy between me and him, but he was on the losing side. And I'll definitely be forwarding that to the stewards, because a penalty for him is only beneficial for me, I'll be fair. This is a brutal race, and everybody is keeping the smallest detail for any mistake or anything that can land anybody a penalty. This is how racing works. It's not everywhere, especially in Formula 1. So if you're calling me greedy, I suggest you stop watching motorsport altogether. Now with Imad up behind, I'm in P8 and he's in P9. He's gonna be looking to overtake me very soon. Again, we're fighting for the death practically here. We're not really giving an inch of breath to anybody, and he does make the overtake on the inside unexpected. I told him to stay behind, but now I'm very close behind, and I'm giving him the equivalent of a slowed car on the left lane on the wide rolls. I'm sticking right to his bumper, and I'm tailgating the shit out of him, and I'm gonna be looking to send an overtake as soon as I can. So I won't really give him any inch to breathe, because the harder he thinks, the more likely he is to make a mistake. So he's on the inside. I tried to make a move down the outside, but it didn't really work. So I just let him have it. I don't fight it too much, and I just stay and lock in, and I'm looking for another move, which again will be the signature move into turn 3. We're going to 4 and 5. That will be my signature move, but will I be able to make it? That's the question. So you can see it's covering the inside of the next corner, and I'm stuck between, do I go for the draft or do I go for the position? So I am again in the middle. I tried to make the move, but I wasn't close enough, and that just completely ruins my hope of everything. And you can see him again fucking off by 0.5 of a second right now. And yeah, it's 0.8. I cannot really see that very well. The screen is a bit pixelated, but you see it in full definition. So again, that's something I have to work up to gain, and I don't really have much left. I only have about 1.5 laps remaining, so I'm gonna have to work even harder to get that position back, because defending is way easier than overtaking. And actually no, in my perspective, I much prefer overtaking than defending. But again, depending on who you ask, it's a spectrum, and I'm a good attacker but not a good defender at all. And my defending strategy gets very dirty very quickly if I get really hard on it. So as a racer, I've developed the let him go, I'll overtake him later mentality, and it's worked so far. But sometimes you really have to fight it, and defending, again, I get to really dirty very quickly once I get desperate. Now I'm trying to overtake him as soon as I can, and yes, I've made some progress. I'm into the 0.4s now, 0.47, 0.46, and I'm catching him. I'm very well in this draft, and by the end of the straight, the gap should be between 0.3 and 0.1, and it's a pretty long straight. It's not too long, but again, it's very long. If it was the no chicane version, it would be way longer, but now I'm not gonna be close, nowhere remotely close to make a move on him. But I am very close now, and I'm up in a position where I could potentially make a move into turn 4 and 5. So lining up, you know, he's forcing me on the outside again. Look at him not giving me an extra space. He's not giving me any comfort. He's making sure that I don't get too comfortable. So I just stick behind in this draft, and you can see him covering the inside as expected. So I decided not to fight it, because you saw how much time I lost last time. So I decided to play it a bit smarter and just stay right on his bumper. As you can see, give him that little tap. It propels him a bit forward, but the draft will bring me back together. So you have the, again, no idea what these corners are called, but these two corners, they're very technical. You have to be very specific with them, and you need to, they're very fast flowing. As I make somewhat of a mistake in there, I mean, my tires are worn out, so it's natural I would be a bit more cautious. And again, you can see I had a better exit than his, so into Ascari, we're gonna be going pretty much side by side. It could get very nasty, but Ascari is my special suite. Now on the outside, I know it's a position I could be in, so I send it on the outside. You can see him trying to push me wide, but I stick to the inside of the whatever corner that is, and I go through. But crucial mistake, critical mistake, I go off the track limits, and unfortunately that is going to land me a 0.5 second penalty, and that gives the position immediately to Imad. Now I'm looking to build the gap to the driver behind in P10, because I don't want to lose the position to both. So I'm pushing as hard as I could. I really got desperate, trying to drive picture perfect, but will Imad be able, I mean, will the Omani driver be able to close the gap down to catch the position? And the answer is pretty much Yes, he does close it, and I'm back in P10, unfortunately.